Hi, my name is Lashelle and welcome to Love.Dream.Create. I want to make everyone, all of you out there, the best that you can be when it comes to being in front of large groups, to auditions, to interviews, to public speaking, to breaking out of your shell and cracking that outer layer and just being the authentic you that you were meant to be the way God made you. Today, I'm going to go over some of the things I touched on my first video for the new year, 2022. New Year's resolutions, letting God in on your decision making, inviting God in, consulting God. If you haven't seen it, please click the link right up above. I'm going to be doing more series just like this on consulting God and what would Jesus do. If you like this segment, don't forget to subscribe. I post weekly content every week. So, today is for my Christian actors. Oh yes, people who are new to the faith and are actors, or people who are already well versed, or they've been in the faith for a few years or decades, all of their life, but they also have a talent and a knack for acting, the entertainment industry, things of that sort. This video is for you. We're going to touch a little bit on what I left off last week, and that is consulting God, letting God in on some of the most important roles that you are being offered right now. So now we're going into 2022, and I know being an actor, you have your headshots and you are just ready to submit yourself right away. Or many of you are blessed, God is good, and you have a lot of people coming up to you or emailing you or DMing you about different movie roles. And I know a lot of you are probably looking for that one movie role, especially a starring role that will catapult you into the next level that you so deserve. But before we get into that and before we start thinking ahead, I've come here to let you know one thing I learned in life that I heard. And that's everything that looks good to you isn't good for you. Now, I'm going to break that down for you. You might currently be working with a director, or you're in the talks with the director, or you're submitting your information in to be considered for a big, let's say, indie film, or movie role, or webisode, or what have you, something of that sort. And you're just so eager, you know you need that next lead, that starring role, not supporting role. You've done that before, but you need that next supporting role to get you to the next level. Because of course we have IMDb, we have credits. Credits are a big thing. We could put that on our resume. Plus, when we get paid, it gives us the icing on the cake. But before you say yes, consult God. What would Jesus do? Let me break it down for you. So let's say you're getting with a director, okay? And he wants to give you a starring role, and he's going to give you a starring role. You just have to say yes. Well, stop it right there. The first thing you should do, you should research. I have a few helpful tips and hacks. I helped everyone with auditions and acting auditions, or all types of auditions. But I go over research in this video. If you haven't seen it, click right up here. I want to congratulate everyone. If you are on here, that means you are starting to see your career shift. Good for you. That's what we want to see. Make sure that you like this content, because by liking it, YouTube will send it out to more people who can benefit from the information that I give. You'll be brought to that video, and you can see how you really want to research. You could get into Google, you could go into IMDb, but research the director. See what type of movies and content he is known for. Same thing if it's a writer and you don't know the director, but you're working with the writer and the writer wants to book you, let's say, or invite you in. See what type of content that they are used to writing. Make sure it's not too tongue-in-cheek and it doesn't go against all of God's laws and doctrines. And it would be something that is uplifting and something you don't mind showing to everyone, including your little cousins, as I say, or your little brother, your little sister, your children. Make sure that there's no blasphemy, no cursing in it. You want to make sure what type of content they produce, again, from going online to something like Google or IMDb and checking them out. Now, of course, like I said, you can always say no. Sometimes the script is being worked out, and I can understand something of that sort. But if, let's say, you get the script, you say yes, but you get the script, haven't seen the script yet, what have you, and you see the script, and it's just stuff that you don't agree with, and you know that God would not appreciate, then you can say no. So many people in Bible history got no's before they got a yes from God. Let's not forget our favorite creative, and that was King David. Oh, he loved to write poetry and songs. That's why we had the book of Psalms. He loved to dance and play the harp. And he used to play the harp for his father-in-law. He didn't know it was his father-in-law, but his father-in-law, Saul. And just think, he wasn't in his victory yet. He wasn't king yet. But he had married Saul's daughter, and his friend, confidant, brother-in-law, Jonathan, he was able to devise a plan to help David escape, because he was running from his father-in-law, Saul, because Saul was getting jealous of David, because David was doing so good when it came to going out to war. And there was a point where David was in a cave and he was hiding from Saul, but Saul was in the same cave. Little did he know. And David, being David at the time, he was obedient and he listened to God, and he didn't harm his father-in-law. And later down the story, things took care of itself, and King David got an upgrade, as we say now. He was King David, ruler, because he put God first. And that's what we must do. I told that story to say that's what we must do. It's easy for us to say yes, and it's hard for us to say no. I understand, especially when you think of all the people you're letting down. But at the end of the day, after our life is over and we stand before God to be judged, we're going to have to account for everything we did. And that's going into this movie. So if something doesn't hit you right, doesn't seem right about the movie, you can say no. Script or no script. Going into rehearsals, you see something or something, because you know the devil is a lie, let me tell you. See, the devil's going to expose himself. Not right off the bat. So what I'm saying is whoever, and this goes for models as well, but whoever you're working with at first, it's going to be nothing but smiles and haha and hee hee, and it's going to be wonderful. And I'll give you the script and everything. And into planning and talking and going over schedules, what rehearsals, just meetings, you'll start to see the person's true colors come out, especially for my ladies out there, men as well, but my ladies. And you'll start to see the fangs and the teeth come out, and you'll get to know, like, I think there's something else involved in this movie. They want me to do something else that I don't want to do, what have you. So again, you'll get to know, especially with working with them, talking with them, corresponding, emailing, especially 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll kind of know the gist of things, and you will get that gut feeling. And again, I tell everyone out there, you have got to go with your gut feeling. My new Christian actors, or my Christians who are new at acting, and you're getting all these movie roles and possibilities coming your way. Congratulations. But you have got to use that gut feeling. You know that gut deep down inside is the Lord warning you. So that's why you have to pray on it. Pray on it. Tell them, you're giving me this role. I don't know if it's going to be in person or over email. Give me 24 hours. Give me 48 hours. Pray on it. Ask God. And again, If something happens, you can always turn around and say no. They can get another person. There are, unfortunately, 1,000 other men and women that are looking for a movie role or a project. So it is not that serious. Speaking of saying no, I have got to bring up Chris Tucker, one of my favorite comedians and actors. He starred in a blockbuster film, Rush Hour, with Jackie Chan. But most people know him as Smokey on Friday, starring Ice Cube. And after the first movie, he refused to do the next movie. And there was a lot of gossip, especially back in the day, a lot of gossip about why he didn't continue to do the next movie. Well, it seems like he didn't want the reputation of smoking weed. He didn't want the reputation of using blasphemy and cursing and just the way his character was depicted on Friday. So he gave up just several millions of dollars that he could have had at his dispense to spend on anything just to play act like he was smoking weed and drinking and blaspheming. But he said no, and good for him. And he's done some other wonderful things, like having clubs, owning his own club, not serving alcohol, humanitarian, because he knows that when he has to account for his life and serve God, God's going to ask him, what did you do with your fame, quote unquote fame, in your stardom? And he's going to have to give an account for his life. So just remember that. And there's other stars as well who have given up large amounts, millions, because it just wasn't right. And that's what you have to do, my Christian actors and actresses. You have to learn how to say no, but you have to believe when you tell them no, because you are taking the higher road. God is speaking with you. You know it's just not right in the pit of your stomach. You could just feel it that God wouldn't be okay with it. That you know what? In the next few months, you're going to get an upgrade. Now, I'm not saying, oh, you do this for him, he does this for you, but so many other better opportunities are going to come your way. And this will make you stronger and wiser. And again, like I say, we all want to do some type of project that our little cousins or baby cousins or brothers or sisters or children, our neighborhood friends, kids can look at as a family. You'll also see other red flags. Like, now this is one thing I've experienced being a model and an actress, and you just know working with the person is not going to work, is that you'll meet with them in person, let's say, or even over the phone for the very first time, and all they have to say is negative stuff about the other model that they shot, or they're a director, or they work with actors, and they're just talking negatively about other actors. And you kind of think in your head, am I going to meet them? Why are they talking negative? Well, you have to factor in as well, they're talking negative about these people. Well, they could be saying the same thing about you, but most importantly, they're showing their true colors. They're showing their professionalism. So sometimes things like that, you kind of get to see their personality when you are meeting with them or talking with them, especially when you're early in the project. And there was one model I knew back in San Francisco, and let me tell you, Dean Cain or Mark Wahlberg back in his underwear days had nothing on this model. And I remember he said he had a gig in San Francisco. He had to take a picture. It was only an hour-long photo shoot, and it was with a few other guys. And then I remember him saying that he was there, and they paid him something like $750 to $800 or so dollars, maybe even $1,000 for just an hour. So of course he was going to take it, and he worked out a lot. So after 10, 15, 20 minutes of taking pictures, and he was perfectly clothed in a shirt, kind of dress clothes, they asked all the guys to take their shirts off. So the guys kind of took their shirts off, because the photographers actually were male, took their shirts off, and they started taking pictures. And then after so many minutes or so, they started asking them to play piggyback. So you could understand that this was very uncomfortable for my friend. He did stick it out and he got paid. But see, these are the things that I talk about. Now, it would have been perfectly acceptable. At the end of each photo shoot, they have you sign a model waiver, giving permission to take pictures and use your picture. So one could have very well walked off of the set, not signed the waiver or asked for the waiver back and says, I'm not taking part of this. So like I said, guys, different signs are there. And people who are not so okay in the industry, they rely on, I'm not going to say too much naiveness, they rely on that too, but because everyone is looking for a break, everyone's looking for that project to catapult them, everyone is looking for a credit for their resume, especially for IMDb, casting networks, things of that sort. So they want to prey on people any age, any age. So that's why I say, what would Jesus do? Before you agree and say yes, really think about it, but more importantly, pray about it. Also add in, you want to examine the project and make sure that they don't want to typecast you. Just like for my ladies out there, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ladies out there, you are more than just some little frilly plaything and object for men. So if you have been, how can I say? So if you've already had that meeting with your talent managers, your managers, and your acting teacher, and they say, you know what, I see you as the businesswoman. I see you as the next door neighbor. I see you as the librarian or the veterinarian, but you get with this director, and because they see you one way, they want to make you the street worker, then you need to ask Jesus. Because a lot of people will typecast you. And for my people of color, whatever color you are, if you find out that they are wanting to depict you and the character you play with playing them totally left, meaning wanting to implement funny accents when you don't have an accent, and you read the script and they're really, really degrading and really, how can I say, stereotyping one type of race because that's what they want, then that's another thing you really have to consult Jesus on. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of famous people on TV that's played characters outside of their characters. They haven't been a stereotype, if you could understand. You know good and well that's not the type of title and the different looks you have for your headshots. So that's another thing you want to consult Jesus on. It is also so important to research the director, the company, or the writer. Sometimes what you can do is if they have a social media account and you've seen other actors there that have worked in their projects, it's a good rule of thumb to DM them. DM the other actor that worked with them and see how they are and see if they have good work, if they got their reels on time. We'll get into that in another subject. Very, very important to get your reels and all your work back so it shows that you did something for your reels. But very good rule of thumb to look on social media, look at these actors that was in their projects, then go to them, DM them, and ask them how their experience was. And in mentioning about the director talking stuff about other actors, you have to watch sometimes people of power and people who have the ultimate job and role, because sometimes they'll try to play puppet master and they'll try to put each person against each other, or say something about this person and say something about this person and say, well, this person said this. I remember watching a documentary on Dreamgirls, the stage play Dreamgirls with Shirley Ralph, and Jennifer Holliday and cast. And it seems like the director of this Broadway stage play used to do that with the young girls and put them against each other with the leads and solos and things like that. So that's another thing you have to watch out, is when he seems to be talking about everyone, or kind of playing puppet master, or just being a real, you know what I'm saying? That's another red flag. And you might see it in the beginning, you might not, you might see it in the middle, you might see it before you actually start. But sometimes you will see it. Another thing is you are not there to do stunts. You are not a stunt person if you're not a licensed stunt person. So when you're doing projects, whatever it is, and they want you to jump out of a car, roll out of a car as it's going, or something of that sort, you are not a stunt person. If you get hurt, they're not going to care about you. And if you are an actor in a big city, let's say LA, Miami, and your family is not in the state that you're in, and something happens and you're knocked unconscious, it's going to take your parents a long time to first get to the hospital, how many days for a plane flight, and then they're going to have to make major decisions with the doctor on what to do with you. All because a director or a writer or whoever wanted to be experimental and do their own stunt and cut costs and not get a double to play you to do a stunt. So when it comes to stunts, don't do it. Stunts need to be supervised. They need to have a body double, not you in the stunt. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Right now you are seeing a video that I created for my actors, so when you do book the project, you know what to do. Please feel free to click on "So you've booked your project. Now what?" Until then, I will see you next week. I hope everyone has a fantastic week.